Okay, yes, I think we're live. Wonderful. All right. Hi, thank you for joining me, presuming you are joining me, if you watch the replay at least. My name is Barry Selby. This is a daily broadcast I do called Messages from the Let's start again. Hi, my name is Barry Selby. This is my daily broadcast of Messages from the Masculines, number 115. And today's broadcast, or talk, or invitation to converse, is on the theme of why people choose bad relationships, or why I should say why people choose to stay in bad relationships. Now, before I start with that, let me introduce myself formally for those who've never seen me do a live stream before, and after doing 115, I hope you've seen me by now. My name is Barry Selby. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, and relationship attraction expert helping strong, successful business women find balance in love, life, and business. I'm also a passionate champion for the divine feminine, and I've been studying stuff for a long time. So hopefully my insights, perceptions, and ideas may actually help you. So that's why I do these broadcasts every day. So this is number 115. Yes, 115. That's been quite a few talks. And today's one is actually, in a way, a part 3, kind of what I talked about yesterday and the day before, but different. So if you haven't watched 113 and 114, which is Friday and Saturday, this is Sunday, please go back and watch those when you get a chance. But watch this one through as well. So the topic today that came through as a download is why do people choose to be, or should I say, why do people choose to stay in bad relationships? Because I know people who have. Some of my clients have been that way. I sort of didn't get the hint up front in one of my relationships where I didn't leave when I should have done, or changed it when I should have done, and I ended up paying the price. So why do people choose to stay in relationships that are bad for them? I can give you probably, I'm going to guess 3. I never know what I'm going to actually come up with. But I'll give you at least 3 reasons why people choose to stay in bad relationships. One of which is one of the most obvious ones, frankly, is it's a matter of the lesser of evils. The lesser of evils, meaning that some people would choose to stay in a bad relationship than face life being single because they're so afraid of being single. And I talked about that yesterday, about the single choice. But this is what some people choose, is literally to stay in a painful, uncomfortable relationship because they don't want to be single. Now, I'm not talking about a situation where, for example, there are kids involved or anything like that. I'm talking about a romantic relationship, which is a couple that ideally is separate from being parents, because with parents, parenting is a whole other responsibility, another requirement, and a lot more rules, at least commitments, let's put it that way, I would say. I'm speaking about just 2 people in a relationship where one of the partners would choose to stay in that relationship even though it's difficult, painful, unsupportive, and isn't what they want, rather than be single. Because for them, there's a fear that being single is going to be lonely. And again, I talked about that yesterday quite a bit. So they'd rather be in a painful relationship than be in no relationship. Lesser of evils, which is really sounds crazy, but that's the way some people are wired. They'll actually choose a bad relationship over no relationship. I don't support that, in case you hadn't guessed. Another one of the, I think 3, I'm going to see how many goes, this comes out the way it does. And the second reason why some people choose to stay in painful relationships is because it's familiar. I've talked about this at length in past broadcasts and on some interviews and in my book about how we are programmed from childhood about how we do our love life as an adult. And so for some people, choosing to stay in a relationship that's painful isn't actually the way they see it. They see it the way that they should be receiving love. Should be receiving love. Let me break that apart slightly. Many people out there have carried unconsciously or subconsciously the painful patterns of childhood where they were hurt, abused, or otherwise distressed by the way they were loved, that they carry that relationship between pain and love together into their adult life. So they can be in a relationship that's painful, but because it's familiar, that pain is acceptable. Again, it sounds crazy from the outside, but people live in this environment and tend to spend their life in love that way. That's number 2. Number 3, let's see what number 3 is. And again, I don't have these scripted, I'm just like letting them pop in. So if you've got ideas, please post them, by the way. Please comment below. I'm certainly willing to interact in this broadcast. It's not meant to be a lecture, it's more meant to be interactive. So if you have any questions, ideas, thoughts, needs of support, please let me know in the comments. If you're watching the replay, do it anyway, and I will respond in typing afterwards as well. And by the way, those watching this on YouTube, this was originally done on Facebook Live, so it's going to be a dual-purpose broadcast. Third, so first one is it's safer to be in a relationship than being single. It feels more comfortable being in a relationship than single. Second one is that it's better to be in a familiar relationship where it can be painful versus being single. So that's two. The third one is that, and again, these are just popping in. The third one is that, frankly, they're so sick and tired of that pursuit of finding a partner, they'd rather stay suffering in a relationship than go through all the effort of finding somebody new. Now, if you dated somebody 4 years ago and now you're looking again, the landscape has changed dramatically thanks to things like Tinder and Plenty of Fish and all these other apps out there. But the same thing is, like, do you want to go through all those hoops again of going out on first dates and second dates, getting to know each other and all these different things? Cynthia Joy, nice to see you in here. Yes. Well, the thing is, I'm not saying true that no one wants to deal with the ugly reality. I'm going to actually speak to the ugly reality in a moment. So that was number 3. They don't want to deal with the aggravation of having to find somebody again. That was 3. Let me see if I've got 5. I've got a feeling there's a couple more, so let me just see if they percolate through. But thank you for the comments, by the way. And if you have any ideas of why people choose to stay in painful relationships, please post them as well. Again, the 3 I've covered so far, if you just joined in the show, in the program Already in Progress. First one was basically that they were afraid of being single. They'd rather stay in a painful relationship than be single because they don't like being alone, or lonely as they fear. And I talked about that yesterday, about being single is a good thing, not a bad thing. Second one was that they're familiar with how much pain there is in that relationship, so they'll stay because it's comfortable, as much as it's not comfortable. Again, weird wiring. Third one is they'd rather stay in a relationship than go through the hassle and the aggravation of trying to find somebody new again, because it's too much work. So they'd rather put up with what they have than go to the effort of finding something better. Interesting choices people make, you know. Number 4. Let's see what number 4 is. Number 4. Yes, number 4. Oh, Michelle, would you say that they don't believe they can do better? That was exactly my 4th point. Thank you. You took it right out of my mouth. Oh, they don't feel worthy of something better. That was going to say that. You just said exactly what I was going to say. The 4th one is that they basically think it's the best they're going to get. They choose a relationship that is barely comfortable, painful even, thinking they can't get any better than that, so they won't choose or effort or do anything to find something better than they already have. Thank you, Michelle. You took the words right out of my mouth. That was perfect. That was so good. So, Jody, you said fear is a huge one. I'm not sure if you're responding to what I said earlier about they'd rather be in a relationship where it stays. They'd rather stay in a relationship that's painful versus being alone because they fear being lonely. Fear of the unknown. Would that? Okay, I'll take that one. Yeah. Okay. So that'll be number 5. Let me play with that one a bit. Fear of the unknown. Yes, being in a relationship that's painful is familiar. Choosing to be in another relationship that's not familiar, or being single, is fearful for some people. So yes, fear of the unknown. Yeah, thank you. I'll take that one as well. That's 5. Yeah, that's true, because there are people who will choose to be in a painful, familiar situation than to risk being outside their comfort zone, which is painful. I mean, it's uncomfortable being in the painful area, but it's a comfort zone they're familiar with. It sounds insane. As I said, they all sound insane, but they're what people choose, rather than face the unknown of not sure what's going to happen next. So let me speak to that part now. So this is on 5. We've got 5 ideas out. That's good to start with. Let's speak to the other side. So choosing out of that familiar discomfort and being single, why would that be better? Now, I'm not going to repeat what I said yesterday, because I can't remember what I said, to be honest. But let me speak to a little bit different about that. The reality is that most people are unwilling to look at what they really want. So it's not fear of the unknown as much as their fear of their own unwillingness to see what they really want to create. Because, especially for women, you ladies watching, what is so clear is that you have an incredible gift of being able to manifest what you want by the ability to attract it. One of the gifts of the feminine. And being able to attract what you want means you have to be willing to get clear about what it is you do want so you can attract it. I hope that makes sense. So if you are in a place where you fear of the unknown, it's because you may not be willing to, not so much afraid of, well, maybe you will be afraid of, you may not be willing to clarify and get really decisive about what you really do want so you can attract it. The fear, coming back to the fear of the unknown, is that your fear is that you may design your ideal relationship and it be less than what you really want. Or the other side of that is, because some people are afraid of failure, some people are afraid of success, that maybe their vision is so big that it might show up and it's going to scare them completely because they're like, I wasn't ready for how good this is. People have both paradigms. So yes, it's true, fear of the unknown can play out. So speaking again to the idea about if they choose something else. So they're afraid to go out on their own because they're afraid of being lonely. I talked about that yesterday, and just to recap briefly, being alone is not the same as being lonely. Being alone is where you can actually do the best work, because you can start when you're alone to learn how to love yourself without somebody else being around. By doing that, it actually makes you much more whole, because it fills you back up to be yourself. And then by doing so, you can attract somebody at the level you're at versus somebody from a place of lack. And that's a whole other conversation. I talked about that yesterday, so watch that one. That was number 114. This is number 115. Second one, which is about being in familiar pain. Well, I've covered that one already, I guess, in a way. It's the fact that when you, in the place of being comfortable in the pain, it's time to change the paradigm. If you're still carrying around reflexive responses to find painful situations to stay in because they're more comfortable, again, the insanity of that just floors me. You can get help to heal those patterns so they don't keep becoming the repeat cycles you keep going back to. I can help you with that. It's one of my skill set with my clients, helping them heal their baggage from the past. They don't keep repeating it because it's really boring. I know, I've done that myself. Repeating those paradigms from the past again and again and again gets kind of boring after a while. Doesn't matter how many times you change the face of the person you're in a relationship with. If you keep repeating the same experience again and again with a different person, it will get very boring. That's the reality of this. So to choose a conscious and new paradigm that starts with you being single, no pain, no gain. Well, I know that no pain, no gain. You can do it from a much healthier place. You've got to take chances. Comfort zone is addictive and hard to break through. Yes, that's true. And the comfort zone is something to talk about. And let me throw this one at you. Because some people say, well, the comfort zone is all I'm familiar with. Well, what if the comfort zone is where you live, but what's outside the comfort zone isn't the discomfort zone or the uncomfortable zone. It's the magic zone, where magic can happen. Try that one on for size. Yeah, play with that one. All right, so getting back on track with this focus point. Some of the things that sound quite confusing actually make sense, like rather staying in a unhealthy or uncomfortable situation instead of one that is unknown and thereby scary. Exactly. That's what I talked about. Yes, that, Catherine. That's definitely in the 5 that I talked about as 5 different reasons people choose to stay in painful and limiting relationships versus being single. And some of you may be familiar with these yourself. I say I'm familiar with some of my own experience and with my clients. So being single, let me go back to that again. So choosing to let go of the familiar, comfortable, and painful relationship you've been in. It can be scary, yes, and is unknown. But again, as I said before, the truth is that until you're willing to decide and choose for yourself to create a vision of what you really want that is bigger than you're even being comfortable with, and actually moves you into discomfort, into a place of excitement / fear, depending how you look at it. But the truth is excitement, because you're making a new vision, a picture of what you want to have that is so far beyond what you've had before that part of me might go, I'm not ready for that, I'm not comfortable with that, I don't know if I can do that. Well, if you can think it up, if you can design it and create it, you can definitely have it. That's an affirmation you put on your wall if you want to. If you can design it and create it, you can have it. That simple. So ladies, again, for the ladies watching in particular, and let me just plant the seed for this. I have an online program that I created because I got so clear that women can have what they want. But for most women, they don't get clear about what it is they want. And they say, I can have whatever I want. They said, I can have whatever I want. Yet they don't know what that is because they don't design it. So ladies, you can create a vision of what you really want. But I would say don't stop there. Create a vision of what you really want in a relationship. A vision that is technicolor and bright and alive and happy and joyful. But then make it multidimensional. Take yourself into the vision and explore and experience it, because then you actually become familiar with it in a way that's positive. Because by becoming familiar with your new environment that you're choosing to have, that isn't here yet, you start to create a magnetic pull, a natural magnetic attraction to bring in that experience for yourself. This is one of the secrets of my program, by the way. Shh, don't tell anybody. Getting clear about what you want and attracting what you want is important. Getting clear to start with is where you start. But to actually take the steps, and in my program is 8 modules, that set you in motion towards the direction you want to go so that the goal you're attracting can come to you more easily. That takes a few more steps. And if you are willing to risk the unknown and embrace what is scary, which is to be in unfamiliar territory, you can change your whole paradigm and no longer be stuck in those old relationships that suck, to be blunt. Those old paradigms, those old relationships are so last week's news. You don't need to. Whoops. Sorry, I had my earbuds in because apparently my mic wasn't that loud, so now I'm using this, so I need to make sure I keep it in instead of knocking it out in wild frenzy. Your choice, your opportunity, your heart's desire for an amazing relationship is available to you. But the same as you need to get clear of what you really do want, you must be willing to remove, release, and let go of what doesn't work to make room for it. You can't have a relationship that sucks and a relationship that works. You're not allowed to. It's like the law. You can only have one relationship, ideally, if you're a monogamous person. And ideally, that means you let go of the one that doesn't work to make room and make vision and attract the one you really do want that does work. That's a paradigm shift for many of you out there, I know. I was talking yesterday about the being single part, and I was realizing very distinctly how out of the 7.5 billion people on the planet, less than a couple of million, maybe, or even less, are even thinking about this idea about having the opportunity to design what you want in a relationship. That they're so far outside that understanding. They're so caught up in the model of codependent relationship, which again I talked about yesterday, that it blows my mind, let's put it that way. To recognize out in the world that people I see driving down the street, in the restaurants, at the bars, at my church even, that I see people out in the world who are in relationship paradigms that are so codependent that it's almost unhealthy, and it stuns me. And I feel for them, but it's not my role or my right to go up and say, don't do that, step away from it, walk away from that relationship. That's not my job. That'd be very messy, and I don't want to take on that karma. But if you're watching this and you're thinking about it, then I hope you're getting the idea and taking to heart the message that you really do deserve the best in a relationship. And it requires you to get clear about what there really is. It also requires you to let go of what doesn't work. Those two pieces alone will change your paradigm, change your life. And if you really are willing to go forward in that direction, then you can have it. And if you've got questions or want to know how to do that, that's my job. I can help you with that. So you don't have to do it alone. You can be alone and single to be able to do this, but you have to go through this journey alone. That's my joy and my service and my heart's work to help you get what you really want. But be clear. You don't need to stick around in painful, unhealthy, unfulfilling relationships because you think that's the way you're supposed to be. You can have what you want. You deserve what you want. You just need to be clear about what you want. Clear about that? I think we're clear. I'm just thinking, make sure the 5 ideas I covered earlier, if I have responded to all of those. I think that covers it to the degree that it does. The recognition is that all 5 of them are things that most of us have experienced in one shape or form. You don't have to stick with that, though. And this is another part. I want to just drop a seed for this. You can, you have to be secured in one's own self to choose what you want. Absolutely. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And that's the thing. Thank you, Michelle, on point, I appreciate that. The thing is that it is a choice to have what you really want. It's vital for your own fulfillment that you get clear about what you really want, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't get it. I've been watching that in some of my work I'm doing about my work and my career and my business, is that I've been watching when I get clear about what I want, things start to show up. When I get off track, it doesn't show up. It's kind of very black and white, very easy to understand. So the same is true for you looking for relationships, of having the understanding of what you really want, is the clarity of knowing what you really do want as a baseline. Now, what you're creating when you have clarity of relationship, vision, intention, what that is a starting point. It's not the only things, for example. You're not containing the relationship. It's kind of like open at the top, as my spiritual teaching talks about. So your framework is you're building a platform in your vision board from which it can grow from, become bigger than, can be better than. And the recognition that you have this choice point means that you start from a place of intention, a place of clarity and vision that becomes the base from which everything else can grow, which means that whatever happens is even greater and even better and even more wonderful than that. Something like saying that, this is something better for the highest good is kind of one way of putting it. Or I should say, this is something better, period. Because you're saying, I will have this and above, this and greater, this and better. I don't longer go back to that old paradigm we talked about, the 5 I talked about, those old ideas. Don't play there anymore. You moved on, you've grown up, you've become more conscious and more willing to choose your relationship from a conscious intention. Versus, oh, they asked me out, I'll go out with them. And end up suffering the same old paradigm again and again and again. Any of you remember that? I certainly can remember that experience of having a relationship repeat itself with different partners. And it wasn't what I wanted. It seemed like it at the time, but I look back and go, no, that wasn't what I wanted at all. So this reminder, this nudge, as is all my Facebook Live talks, by the way, is to give you, so do you? Thank you, Catherine, I think, I'm not sure. Lots of food for thought. Yeah, well, that's the idea. That's what these are for. By the way, if you've never seen my Facebook Lives before, they're all meant to be food for thought. So, yes, lots of food for thought. This is number 115 in an ongoing series. So there's 114 before this. They're all ideally food for thought. So if you haven't watched my previous broadcasts, I do invite you to go back and scan through them. These topics are usually around the idea of a relationship, masculine and feminine polarity, and being a authentic person in the world. These are messages from the masculine to inspire the feminine heart, is the title, although some of them have meandered off track. So your bar is very high now, so just need to find someone to join me on the commitment journey. Exactly. Thank you, Jody, for just endorsing. Yes, Elena, that is clear. You've got to have the willingness to set your bar at the level you can play at. Now, some people, that's way too scary to be that high. It's almost like having a fear of heights to have their bar set that high. Literally. They're afraid of being that high. They're willing to say, I'll just be comfortable. I'll have a relationship that just works, that it's pleasant, that the sex is okay and that we hang out some of the time, but that's all I can ask for. No. You can ask for way more than that. So definitely raise your bar. Raise the standard. Raise that intention to the level you deserve. Now, it does require you to step up to that bar too. You can't just say, I'm sitting on the couch and eat popcorn all day and then I have a vision of this incredible person that comes into my life that's healthy and fit and does all these other things. It doesn't work that way. You've got to be up to the level your partnership is demanding of you so you can be there to receive them when they show up. Put that one on your affirmation wall as well. You can be at the level you want to be at to attract the level of relationship you truly want. So recapping again, by the way, because I'm realizing I've gotten through this path. This is an ongoing series of talks on relationship paradigms, understanding what you want, and having the true results of the desires you have for a purely amazing relationship. My work is helping you get that. If you have a question, reach out to me. And if you want to find out more about the program, reach out to me as well. I did mention that in the video. This is number 115 ongoing series. If you want to find out more about my work, go to my website, which is barryselby.com. This video is on Facebook Live. It will also be reposted onto YouTube on my YouTube channel. So you can find it on YouTube with all the other ones. On my business page on Facebook, where all these accumulate, because my personal page has lots of other stuff, where this is being originally shown. Or you can go to my website, barryselby.com, and go to the video blog, where all of these are posted in sequence, from the latest to the oldest. So there's when this goes up, it'll be 115 Facebook Lives in a row, all the way down the screen. If you've got to spend if you've got a few days that you're just sitting there and doing nothing, go ahead and watch them. They're all about 10-15 minutes each, and they will hopefully help you. Do me a favor, by the way, if this speaks to you or speaks to somebody you know, please share this with them. The replay, again, I said at the beginning, if you have questions or thoughts you want to ask or answer when I sign off, I'll come back and answer them afterwards. So definitely this conversation continues after I finish recording. I want to help you. If you have questions, thoughts, concerns, message me directly over Facebook or over YouTube or on my website, or put comments in below and I'll answer them as well, get to them as well. So that, I think, that's about it. These, again, I'm trying to keep this fairly short, but this one got a bit longer, because there's more content in this one. So I hope this was assisting. I hope this was useful to you. Ideally, these are meant to contribute to people's lives, and I hope they do that for you. And again, if you want to watch it again, the replay will be up and running as soon as I sign off. You're very welcome. I'm glad you liked the conversation. And I'll be back again tomorrow with another broadcast. Tomorrow's will be number 116. Yeah, the list continues. And these topics, by the way, just come out of the blue. So today's was purely about people suffering in a relationship for no reason. So you're very welcome. And thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing it out. And as always, I'll say this again and again and again. Take care of yourselves first so you can take care of others. Your relationship's not there to take care of you. You do that first. and then you can actually attract a healthy relationship. That's probably the simplest teaching I can give you that will change your life. So go do that and see what happens. Right, I'm signing off. I'll see you again tomorrow. Come join me for more interesting conversations about love and relationships, usually in the afternoons when I do them if you're here live. I think this is the biggest audience I've had so far. It's kind of nice to have a few people watching. So that's it. Thank you again. Take care of yourselves, as I said, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.